Hi, my name is Dr. Bruce Hoag. I'm a psychologist who helps entrepreneurs like you to get the results that you want by teaching you how to think differently. In this short video, I want to talk to you about how you make work for yourself. That's right, there are things that you do every day that hinder your progress more than you realize. I also want to show you an easy way to change that. Now, if you know of someone who you think would benefit from this video, then please share it with them. Share it on social media too, and that way I can help other entrepreneurs to get the results that they want. And click on the like button, and then subscribe. And then click on the little bell, and then whenever I make another valuable video like this one, you'll be one of the first to know. Now let's think for a few minutes about how you make work for yourself and how you can turn that around. A few years ago, Gary Keller and Papasan wrote a book that they called The One Thing. They distilled their primary message into a simple question: what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? It's not the one circumstance that I wish someone else would change. It's the one thing that I can do. And that's a really good question. And we're going to come back to it in a few minutes. Now, before we do that, what we want to do is think about the opposite. You often hear that the most successful entrepreneurs do the opposite of what is considered to be the received wisdom. And received wisdom is just another way of saying what everyone else does. And so the opposite question, what's the one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else will become harder or necessary? That's a question that the authors actually overlooked in this book. And I think it's a really important one, and so we're going to look at it first. See, the thing is that if you're going to improve your results, sometimes you have to stop doing something before you start doing something else. In other words, you can't do and not do at the same time. There are things that you do that should prevent you from accomplishing what you hope to achieve. And you have to ask yourself, what are those things you're doing? You probably don't deliberately sabotage your efforts. At least you don't decide at the beginning of the day that you're going to make a mess of things, do you? So you have to ask yourself, what prevents you from reaching your goals? What might make things harder for you? Well, there's a number of things. Let's look at them. One thing that might hold you back, that might keep you from achieving your goals, is email. Do you check your email the first chance that you get in the morning? If you do, then you risk becoming distracted from your one thing before your day even begins. Why do you suppose that is? Well, it's kind of interesting. Brendan Burchard once said that your inbox was a place where you stored other people's agendas. And so your inbox puts you in a reactionary frame of mind. You immediately start thinking about how to solve the problems of others before you have a chance to think about your own priorities. That could be your one thing, but that's not the only thing it could be. How about social media? Do you read all of your notifications and make comments in Facebook or respond in some other social media channel as soon as you can in the morning? If so, then you're telling your brain that that's the most important thing that you can do, and that it's so important that you have to do it before you do anything else. Here's another one, the news. Maybe you're one of those people who need 3 cups of strong coffee to get you going in the morning. And while you're waiting for the caffeine to kick in, you surf the news channels either on TV or on your computer or on your phone. If you do that, you're programming your brain to believe that that's the most important thing that you can do with your time. Let's think about some alternatives. What would be some alternatives to that? It really doesn't matter if you feel awake or not. There are things that you could be doing in the morning, other things that will tell your brain that a new day has begun and your agenda is the most important thing. So what could you do? Well, some people take a shower. You'll find often that you'll get your best ideas when your mind is relaxed, and that could well be in the shower. You could also go for a walk. It doesn't have to be necessarily by yourself. You could go out with your friends, and it doesn't have to be a long one. It could be 15 or 20 minutes. Just some time to give yourself an opportunity for your brain to relax a little bit. You could meditate and pray. And this is one thing that I've noticed for myself. It helps me to get back to my center. The previous day, the events of the morning sometimes pull you in all these different directions, and just sitting down and having those quiet few moments just helps you to get back to your center. It also helps to remind you of your responsibilities and why you're doing what you're doing. You could cook. Some people make breakfast for themselves or for the family. But the thing is that whatever you do first thing in the morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. So now we're ready to answer that first question, the one I asked you at the beginning. So here it is again. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? It's something you have to think about. And here's the thing. It's ironic, but the answer, while it may make your life easier, is going to be difficult to figure out. Now, why is that? Well, it's because the one thing that you could do, or the one thing that you might not do, are going to seem to be unrelated to what you're actually trying to do. So let me give you an example. Let's use me as an example. This is something that I had to think about a lot. Okay, so you're probably wondering what my one thing is, and I'll tell you what it is. It's going to bed on time the night before. That's it. If I get up at 5:30, after 5:30, I feel as though I've lost an important window of opportunity. And for you, that may feel like the middle of the night. But I have to tell you that the thing that makes it really hard is going to bed on time the night before. If you're going to get up at 4 or 4:30 or 5, it means that you've got to be in bed, lights out, no later than 9. Do you have any idea how hard it is to do that? It's incredibly difficult. The Western world isn't designed for people who want to be early to bed, early to rise, no matter what Benjamin Franklin says. And I found that unless I cut myself off from everyone, I have to let my schedule conform to a certain extent to that of others. And so that means that at least a couple of nights per week, I can't turn the light off before 10 or 10:30 p.m. And it's usually a lot later than that because I've been driving for a half an hour. And winding roads and traffic and headlights and oftentimes rain doesn't help you to relax. And so even those nights when I hadn't really planned to go anywhere, they can fill up with things. I really don't know how it happens, but it does. And so going to bed on time for me is a struggle. Now, you've got to remember something. We're all different. Your one thing is likely to be different from mine. And you're going to have to find your one thing. And that's the hack. You're going to have to figure out what it is that goes on in your life, the one thing that you do that makes life a lot harder than it needs to be for you. And then you're going to have to figure out what that one thing is that such by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary. Now, you shouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be the same thing. Remember, in my case, going to bed on time and not going to bed late were basically two sides of the same coin. I have to stop going to bed late, and I have to start getting up early. And those are the two. They're in effect the same thing. So the question then is, what's your one thing? You're going to have to think about this. It's so important. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then please share it with your friends on social media too. And click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And then click the little bell And whenever I make another valuable video like this one, then you'll be one of the very first to know. And if you'd like to learn more about psych hacks, then visit my website at psychhacks.com. Until the next time.